This video is a spoiler for Shadowkeep. It shows new territory on the moon, including the keep itself and surrounding areas. It is a new Nightfall at 950 power. We do the entire thing. It shows new seasonal mods in action, as well as the exotic from season ranks. There are also lore and story spoilers within. So again, spoilers. Hello everyone, and welcome to The Ordeal. Nightfall The Ordeal. The strike is not named The Ordeal. We'll be doing this on the 950 power variant, which comes with quite a lot of modifiers. Martyr, Champions Unstoppable, and Barrier, locked loadouts, match game, and Hashladoon's Serenade, which is specific to this boss, where arc damage is increased, along with knockback, damage, and distance, both of which will make sense later on. Keep in mind that the gear we're using in this footage is fully upgraded, 10 energy in every armor slot, fully modded. This will not be your first experience starting out, and it will probably take a little while to get a fully upgraded armor set. The higher you go in difficulty, the more modifiers there are on the Nightfall. Some of these modifiers are new basic ones like Martyr, but then we have the champions. In this case, it's Unstoppable and Barrier. These enemies can only be stopped by using the correct mods against them. These mods will come from the seasonal artifact. Season 8's mods can only get equipped into auto rifles, hand cannons, and submachine guns as far as we know, mainly close mid and mid-range stuff. So how do you stop these enemies? A barrier champion, unsurprisingly, will generate a barrier around themselves that will regenerate their health. The only way to damage this shield is with a weapon that has the barrier mod on it, or has the properties of a weapon with a barrier mod. In this specific run, Eriana's Vow, the exotic hand cannon that I use in this gameplay. In fact, the game will literally not let you launch the Nightfall if you don't have at least one person with this mod. If you don't have this mod, then unless you can insta-gib the barrier champion, you literally cannot kill it. At least, this was the case during the preview event. An unstoppable champion, in this case an ogre, will, as described, be unstoppable. It will continue to use its I-beam attack and relentlessly chase you down to kill you. When we did the 920 version of this strike without the unstoppable mod, we wiped twice to this single enemy. We were 950. Unlike a barrier champion, you do not technically need the mod to kill this kind of enemy, but man does it help to slow them down. When using a hand cannon, in order to proc an unstoppable shot, you need to aim down sights and wait a second for the gun to charge up a shot. You still fire the gun as normal, it doesn't turn the gun into a fusion rifle or anything. You just aim, and then it'll pop up, and you can fire a shot that will shut down the enemy for a pretty brief time. It wasn't very long. Otherwise, this is the Nightfall. If you ever play the Nightfall, it's like that, but it's a new strike, and actually felt somewhat challenging. I mean, we wiped one time, so it's not like this took hours to do, but it wasn't the arc heavyweight affair that the Nightfall has turned into. The difficulty goes up to 980. We got to try it while being on our 950 characters, and we could not get past a barrier knight. We ran out of ammo, so yeah. Eriana's Vow is the exotic weapon that I am using. It's the hand cannon that uses special ammo that fires really slowly that we've seen in Bungie videos recently. You'll be able to get this weapon via season ranks. If you own Season of the Undying, which if you're buying Shadowkeep, then you own Season of the Undying, you'll get this at level 1 of your season ranks, as in immediately. If you don't own Shadowkeep or Season of the Undying, it will be on the free seasonal rank track at level 35. Keep in mind this footage is on an older build of the game and things are subject to change, but if I were to guess, I'd say this thing is probably going to roll out to the main game pretty close to what it is in the video. It has a fire rate of 90 RPM. An equivalent sniper would be Izanagi's Burden in terms of rate of fire. Its intrinsic perk is that it's a special ammo using hand cannon with a scope, and it has a built-in barrier mod for breaking barrier champions, while its other bonus, what I'm calling the main bonus, is Death at First Glance, where you gain bonus damage when aiming down sights on the opening shot of an attack. You keep the bonus damage if you hit a headshot or if you hit an elemental shield, and you continue to keep it as long as you keep hitting those shots. If you miss, you can de-scope bring it back up, and have the buff come back after a short time. I thought this gun was pretty fun to use. I like the skill element of it, trying to keep up those headshots or destroying shields, but obviously how it'll compare to other weapons at this time in PvE, I do not have a clue. I will say that it emulates a bow-like experience, but we'll talk about this weapon more in the future. I did notice the effects of the global headshot damage nerf on red bar enemies, but when I was actually playing, it didn't really faze me. It just kind of felt like things were at my level, which they were. So they were just naturally going to take an extra shot or two to kill. And that's pretty much it. Maybe it'll feel more brutal with other weapons or at bigger level differences, but to me, given the nature of this activity and its intended difficulty, it didn't really feel unnatural. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. This is based on only 2 runs of the strike, so take that for what you will. Perhaps more day-to-day play, story missions, regular strikes, that'll feel more annoying, but in this particular case, it wasn't bad. But it did make Rampage all the more valuable as a perk. I didn't really use finishers too much because I didn't really have on any mods that did stuff when I did a finisher. I just want to point out, if you do a finisher on a cursed thrall, the thrall will not explode when you hit it, but rather you will punch it away and then it will explode, meaning you can finish a cursed thrall into a crowd of enemies and then have it explode, which is awesome. We got to use the seasonal artifact mods, including the ones in the final column. This season has no solar mods at all. They're all focused on Void and Arc. And at the moment, I kind of like this concept. The concept of giving certain subclasses mods and not others. At least knowing over the past year, the solar subclasses have been pretty dominant in raid content, and I'm ready to use something else. I'm interested. You know, it changes up things season to season, assuming the next season will change which subclasses get mods. I absolutely see a crowd that potentially does not like this because they don't want to play a subclass that they don't prefer, or one that might not be as strong as another one. Totally respect that, especially after having to do seemingly unending quests that require you to use suboptimal loadouts. As usual with these preview events, it's tough to make a judgment call as to if this level of fun or difficulty will continue into the main game and actually stick around for every single one of these runs. Gambit was a blast at capture events last year, but that didn't really last. With only being able to use mostly average weapons, but a strong armor set, this wasn't a breeze, but we didn't crash and burn either running this thing. We still got through it just fine. Is this going to be way easier with weapons equal to Mountaintop and Recluse? Is this going to be way easier if I'm power 1100, since artifact power goes up forever? Probably, maybe, but with all the nerfs coming, maybe not? I played a bunch of Destiny 1 recently, and the difference between Destiny 2 combat and Destiny 1 combat is really noticeable. Destiny 2, you can basically do whatever you want, whenever you want, and Destiny 1, you can't. Maybe another topic for another video, but I'm hoping to see a bit of an in-between for the future of Destiny for now. I've been talking a lot, and I'm betting a lot of you are asking me to shut up so that you can watch the gameplay. So I'm going to do that. Enjoy the rest of the gameplay.
Down. Guardian down. Guardian down.
As I do, Guardian. A hatred as pure and potent as sunshine, soaking through your skin. HelloDatto knows what you are, what you've done. She watched you cut through Crota, Oryx, Omnigul, and she is eager to return that pain.
Guarding the tower. Here she comes. It's over. HelloDatto is dead.
This is a relief to hear. But HelloDatto's presence is no coincidence. The Hive must have grander ambitions for the Pyramid's influences. Return to me. There is much to discuss.